Hey beloved, my name is Krista Pettiford. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you about what's going on in the world. So this is like a prophetic watch. At the beginning of the year, or at the end of last year, I gave a word when I discussed the prophetic meaning of this year and all the words that God had given me, that the Lord said he was going to judge the systems of the world, and the financial system in particular, and systems within systems. So the systems that make things function within a larger system. And so now we're seeing that prices are dropping, the markets are at an all-time low, interest rates are at an all-time low. The Lord said that he is going to give his people wisdom and witty inventions, and that word means insight, hidden insight in the Bible. When you see witty inventions in the King James Version, to come in, to go into the market and to come out, to know when to invest and to know when to pull out. And so it's a time, a prayerful time, that if you have money to invest, if you have money in the markets, then ask God if you should pull out, or if you have money that you can invest into the market, ask the Lord if you should, what you should be investing in. Ask him about the interest rates, if it's a time to, if you own a home, to refinance, or to buy a home, or to sell a home. Whatever your market is doing, pay attention to that. And he said systems within systems. So also about the coronavirus, I'm never going to say that God did something, sent evil to judge. I leave the secret things to God. That could be something, and it may not be. But I know this for sure, because the Bible reveals it, that all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord and are the called according to his purposes. And so when we are called according to his purposes, he can use what the enemy meant for evil and to turn it around for good. And so we want to look at what the enemy may have meant for evil, what has been sent upon the nations of the world, the coronavirus, and how is God using that for our good. So it is making the financial markets go crazy and fluctuate. But in that craziness, it is creating an atmosphere for people to invest, to get into markets that they couldn't have gotten into if you have a little bit of money. And it's tax return time for some people, and for some people that's a big deal. When they get the money that they worked hard for, they get that back from the government, some of that money back. So use it wisely. If that's, if you have savings, think about investing into the market and holding on. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a prophet. I have a prophetic gift. And so I'm just going off of what God has said. But pray prayerfully. Consider what you should be doing and how God is using this time where he's judging through whatever means, whether it's coronavirus and all the other things, the systems of the world, so that his people can come out with great wealth. So those who have an ear to hear, those who believe the prophets, he said, you believe my prophets and you will prosper. Those who believe, then it's time to do something about it. Don't just watch it, but if you can enter in, if God leads you to an investment strategy or to pull out, then listen to him and obey him. So that's one thing. And then I want to share that the other weekend I was at 6 a.m. prayer, and I heard the Lord begin to deal with the things that people are going through right now. So then I got to church, I think it was 2 or 3 Sundays ago, and the Lord began, I was praying for someone, laying hands on a dear sister in the Lord, and I picked up the spirit of grief and that she was going through certain things. But then I realized that it was the church, that there were people in the church that were going through things, the body of Christ in general. And the Lord gave a word to the church. A prophetic utterance came forth that began to talk about he will carry you in a time when many of us maybe going through things that are even too hard for us to bear. First of all, he is a heavy load bearer. He says, take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Jesus said that, and that yoke represents 2 oxen, a smaller and a larger ox, and the heavy load bearer, they put them together so that the larger ox, beast of burden, could have someone to work with him, but the smaller oxen had to follow the lead of the one who was carrying the load. And so that's how we go with Jesus. We yoke up with him and we take his yoke, and then our burden becomes easy and our yoke becomes light. Also, but there are times when the burden is even too heavy to carry. And what the Lord showed me was that poem, Footprints in the Sand. And he showed me